After the sixth Democratic debate hosted by PBS NewsHour and Politico, CNN did a segment where they asked a focus group of 11 Iowa voters who they thought won the debate. So let's watch and then we'll talk about it.
All right, with just 45 days until the Iowa caucuses, voters in that state are starting to narrow down their choices for the Democratic nomination. Our national correspondent Gary Tuckman spent last night with that same group of voters watching the debate. He's in Iowa for us this morning. Good morning, Gary. What I find so interesting is you've watched this debate with the same group of voters every time. What did you learn?
Every time, Poppy, all 6 times, and we watched it with 11 voters here in Johnson County, Iowa. They do think that all the candidates did well last night, but the one who took their top honors is currently not one of the top-tier candidates.
We've watched all the presidential debates with the same group of Iowa Democrats.
Who do you think did best in this debate?
Amy Klobuchar.
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 Klobuchar and Biden.
Klobuchar and Biden.
Klobuchar and Warren.
Klobuchar.
Klobuchar and Warren.
Klobuchar. Sanders.
Klobuchar.
Amy Klobuchar was picked by 10 of these 11 Johnson County, Iowa Democrats.
She just comes across as having thoughtful, specific answers and not rehearsed talking points.
When the other ones were, bickering, she was there to diffuse it and bring focus back on why they were there.
Another consensus among this group? The belief that Joe Biden had his strongest debate.
His answers were direct. He stayed focused and just reminded me of the 8 years under Obama. I mean, that brought those memories back for me.
What was the most important moment of the debate for you?
Well, this is a little bit of a macro perspective, but I've been waiting a long time for a woman president in the United States. I'll be 75 on Monday. So
happy almost birthday.
Thank you. I am so excited to see 2 women on that debate stage who just did so well, and I am so proud of them, and I think either one of them would be a magnificent president.
The most important part of this debate was very important to me personally as a transgender person, hearing Bernie Sanders say that his health care plan would explicitly cover trans health care.
When we first met these Democrats, all were undecided. Temple Hyatt decided on Elizabeth Warren a few debates back. Roseanne Cook picked Amy Klobuchar before the last debate. And now, 6 more are no longer undecided.
Okay, Janice?
Caucusing for Amy Klobuchar.
Lakeisha?
I'll be caucusing for Warren.
Okay, Elias?
Bernie Sanders.
Notably, 3 others have chosen a candidate who did not qualify for this debate.
Ruthina?
I'll be caucusing for Cory Booker.
And you have a shirt with you.
Yes, I do.
Okay, Leslie?
Cory Booker.
Cory Booker, and you have a shirt also. And your husband, Scott?
Cory Booker.
Cory Booker. And why Cory Booker?
Because he's endemically kind, intelligent, and he wants to unite the country.
Mira Bohannon Kumar, Eugene Malone, and Ed Cranston remain undecided.
Are you going to stay undecided at the last second?
You got to stay tuned.
Yeah, that was hard to watch. That was really, really difficult to sit through. They had 11 people and 10 of them happened to be Amy Klobuchar supporters. That's really, really surprising. It's almost as though CNN has their candidates picked out and they're trying to push them on us and prop them up, and one of them happens to be Amy Klobuchar. Because I don't know if you guys have looked at the headlines recently, but all of them were saying that Amy Klobuchar was like the winner of the night, like she's going to surge, oh my god, she has a chance. She's not in the top tier, but maybe she'll surge to be in the top tier. And even CNN the other day released, they showed the polls up there, and it was a poll from like 2 months ago. So it's just not up to date at all, super out of date. But it also happened to be the one that had Bernie Sanders in 3rd and Amy Klobuchar, I think in 4th, but doing better than she normally does. I think it was an early states poll, but yeah, just something that clearly supported their narrative. And I also noticed that pretty much all these voters that they picked from Iowa were older voters, so people who are older are much more likely to support centrists and corporate Democrats. And then sure enough, the only young person there said they supported Bernie Sanders, which Bernie Sanders overwhelmingly has the younger vote. But super oversampled older people in this focus group. And it just so happens that the people they oversampled are more likely to support their candidates, like Amy Klobuchar, like Joe Biden. And then they had the Cory Booker people in there, which was surprising because Cory Booker didn't even qualify for this debate. He's at, what, 1 or 2% in the polls. And then these people, the people they pick happen to support them. 3 of them happen to support them, 3 out of 11. So they're just they're not representing the public at all. They're trying to plant this idea that, oh, it's normal. Like, people support Amy Klobuchar, people support Joe Biden. Well, people do support Joe Biden. But I don't think that he's going to actually do as well once the voting starts, as the polls are showing, if all the young people come out, because then Bernie could capture that vote and maybe get ahead of him. But that's a conversation for another day. So, yeah, CNN trying to push their own candidates on us. Really disgusting, honestly. They should get a more diverse group there in terms of age, in terms of class, in terms of race even, because it's just not accurate to say that Amy Klobuchar has a chance, or and then they try to blow this up like it's a huge deal when it's 11 people. It's like that they've clearly handpicked to support their narrative that Amy Klobuchar is doing better. So it's really not worth much, but obviously they're trying to make it seem like it's a big deal. So yeah, let's just go down and break down what these people said their reasons were for why Amy Klobuchar won. And granted, Amy Klobuchar did do better than she's done in all the other debates, because every debate up to this point, she's just, in my opinion, just face planted. They've always given her like a ridiculous amount of talking time for how low she's polling, because they love her so much and they need an insurance option for if Joe Biden doesn't work out, which there's a chance that he doesn't work out, and then the next person is Bernie, and they can't have Bernie because he's not a corporate Democrat, and he's going to challenge their wealth and their power if he gets into office. He's going to be really hard on insurance companies, really hard on fossil fuel companies, really hard on the pharmaceutical industry. But yeah, so they need an insurance plan, and Mayor Pete is sliding in the polls. In the RCP polling average, he's gone down a few percentage points recently, so they're predictably panicking, and they'd rather not have Warren too, and she's also going down. So it's looking really good for Bernie, really bad for the centrists, really bad for the corporatists. So yeah, let's go through what these people said. You had that one woman saying, she gives thoughtful and specific answers, not rehearsed talking points. I really don't know where this woman got that from, because Amy Klobuchar comes off to me as having the most rehearsed talking points and saying the least amount of substance out of pretty much anybody on that stage. I mean, maybe like Joe Biden obviously says less, but yeah, Amy Klobuchar is always just, she has these pre-planned lines that are just like really cringeworthy, like mom jokes almostly, or mom comments, and then she'll say them with like so much confidence and say it as though like she nailed it, she like, that was amazing, like standing ovation, like rah rah yes, and then she does like a dance in the end zone. But the only people clapping in the audience are just her donors, and then everyone at home who watches is just like the fuck, like what was that? But yeah, so to me, she just had the most rehearsed lines and said almost nothing of substance. When she does talk about substance even, she just is saying what we shouldn't do. Like, she shits all over Medicare for all, shits all over free college. You know, she, like, I haven't heard her say, I support this policy and I support this policy, I support this policy. It's just, oh, come together, unity, blah, blah. You know, just platitudes, just saying a lot of words, but not actually saying what she would do when she becomes president, which is not going to happen, by the way. And then the next woman said she would diffuse the bickering, the quote bickering, and refocus on why they were there. And I really don't know what this woman means by that, what she means by bickering. What I would guess that she's saying is that what I would guess is that the platitudes and the flowery rhetoric have worked on this woman. She's an older woman, so she's more likely to be like, I don't know, a CNN viewer or a mainstream media viewer, and that kind of stuff works on a lot of people like that. Like my mom, for example, my mom watches CNN. She likes when she hears a politician talking, and it sounds good. They're saying like the right words and all that. Like people like to hear that stuff. But yeah, I don't really know what she means by bickering, but if I had to guess, it would maybe be when they're actually having a policy disagreement. Because Amy Klobuchar has said a bunch of times there's like this narrative within the corporate Democrats where, oh, we can't argue, we can't like pit ourselves against each other. We have to come together and like all work towards the same goals. But I really don't see how that's helpful if we just pretend like we're all on the same team when there's clearly a split in the Democratic Party between the progressives and then the neoliberal corporatist warmongers on the other side. You have these two sides, and then you always have the neoliberals coming out and trying to say that, oh my God, like Donald Trump loves watching us like fight and all this. How dare we, like, we have to come together and not argue and pretend like we're all on the same team. But I don't see how that helps anybody when we just are pretending like all of those candidates are the same when you clearly have ideological differences. And the point of a debate is to work out those differences and find out where everybody stands so the voters can make an educated decision when they actually go to the polls. But yeah, so I really don't understand why the bickering is a problem when that's the point of a debate. And I'd be interested to ask this woman what she means by the bickering and what she means by refocus it to why they're there. Yeah. And then moving on to Joe Biden, the reasons these other people gave for why Joe Biden had a good night, which he had a better night, but it was still just like so just like mediocre, like so not noteworthy, so like forgettable. But he has face planted in every single debate Joe Biden has. So I guess compared to those, he actually looked really good in this debate. But still, from like just somebody who stumbled upon the debate and didn't really know anything beforehand, I would come out thinking like, oh yeah, Biden, like he didn't do anything really impressive or wasn't somebody that I would get excited about voting for. So that was surprising that she said that. But this woman said that Biden was focused and his answers were direct and that he reminded her of Obama. That makes sense to me, that she, wants that return to normalcy, wants to go back to the Obama years, misses those days where there wasn't as much chaos in the Trump as there's in the Trump era. And then going back to that other woman, she said, I've been waiting for a woman president. And then she goes on to say that she would either support Amy Klobuchar or Elizabeth Warren. So at least she's being honest about it, that she's prioritizing identity. Like she wants a woman president. That's why she's voting, which I disagree with that reason. But hey, if that's, at least she's being honest. She's saying, I want a woman president. I'm going to vote for either Amy Klobuchar or Elizabeth Warren. But that's surprising to me that identity is that important and that the policies matter that little, because Amy Klobuchar and Elizabeth Warren are completely different when it comes to ideology. You have Amy Klobuchar is like the most like centrist right-wing corporate Democrat you could possibly get. It's almost like she's trying to be Hillary Clinton, but like she's even worse at being Hillary Clinton than Hillary Clinton is. That's what the vibe I got, because I remember early in the primary process, Amy Klobuchar was saying how she was like asking Hillary Clinton for advice on how to run her campaign, which Hillary Clinton is the last person that anybody should be asking for advice for on how to run a presidential campaign, because she lost to a reality star clown in the most embarrassing fashion possible. That was so embarrassing. So yeah, it's surprising that that woman prioritizes the identity that much to where she would vote for either one of these two candidates that are super far apart ideologically speaking, just because they both have vaginas. And then you had the one Bernie supporter there saying their reason for why he won the debate was that his healthcare plan would specifically cover transgender people. Now, it's surprising to me that everybody that wasn't the Bernie Sanders supporter didn't give an actual policy-based reason for why their candidate won that debate, i.e. Amy Klobuchar, which is kind of infuriating. And then the one Bernie supporter gave an actual policy answer to why they thought he won the debate, which, to me, I think that's the ultimate reason why you should pick a candidate is based on their policies, their agenda, what they're trying to do for you, what they're trying to do for the country, and what they would do as president. And I honestly think prioritizing identity like that, like I'm all for a woman president. I think that would be amazing to make history, but ultimately it's going to come down to what is this person going to do? How are they going to make my life better? When you look at all the different problems our country has, how, we have half of workers making $30,000 a year or less. We got poverty. We have full-time workers living in poverty. We got homeless veterans, 45,000, I think, homeless veterans, 500,000 homeless people. You got 87 million people uninsured or underinsured with health care, high deductibles, high co-payments, 500,000 medical bankruptcies. We need to do something about climate change. God, so many problems. Criminal justice reform, getting money out of politics, all these different problems. And then I just think it's surprising that this woman is prioritizing identity that much. And then at the end, oh my God, this was the worst part. 3 of them saying they're going to vote for Cory Booker, and they pull out the Cory Booker shirts. It's like, who are these people? Where are these people? Where are they from? What are they, where are they? Because they're not showing up in the polls. They're not showing up. Their voices aren't loud. They're not actively going out expressing a lot of excitement for Cory Booker, such as there is for somebody like Bernie Sanders or Andrew Yang, Elizabeth Warren. You got enthusiasm behind those candidates, but then you don't have it. You just don't see it behind Amy Klobuchar. You don't see it behind Cory Booker. You don't see it behind Joe Biden, even though he is doing well in the polls. So it's just really surprising and really disappointing. Well, I mean, what do you expect from CNN? That CNN would go through these lengths just to push their narrative, just to say, we need a corporate Democrat. We can't let Bernie Sanders get the nomination. And they're willing to go to just lengths of just brainwashing their viewers, essentially, when they're trying to control the narrative.